Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Soul Vibes. It is Celinelizette here, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. Please hit the subscribe button to support my channel, and if you like this video, please like it, comment, share it, all that good stuff. Really quickly, I just want to give you guys an update on my rhinoplasty procedure that I got on June 25th. So it's been, I'm gonna look at my notes. It's officially been 4 months and 2 weeks since I've gotten it. I got it on June 25th. I did do a previous video on my rhinoplasty experience, and I pretty much spend the time talking about how emotional and mentally challenging the whole procedure was. And it was completely like unknown to me. I feel like that part isn't really talked about when it comes to rhinoplasty procedure, unless like you watch somebody else's YouTube video beforehand or, like really do your research. But and for the other people that I talk to, it's like, nobody really stresses that part. I think it's because maybe the people that I knew who did get one, like got one years and years ago. So they forgot about how hard it was mentally and emotionally. Plus everybody's journey is different. Some people swell more than others. And I truly think I'm one of the people that swells like a lot more. It's just in my genes. So I had a really hard time emotionally and mentally. So if you guys have either gotten rhinoplasty and are going through a hard time, feel somewhat like depressed, or you're going into a downward spiral because you're scared that it's not going to turn out good, you don't like how it looks right now, then definitely go watch my first video. If you haven't gotten a rhinoplasty yet and you're thinking about getting it, it'll be helpful for just like, some tips to be prepared for. I did timestamp that one since that one's a little bit longer, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. In this one, I just want to talk about, how much progress has been made since that video, because honestly, it's like night and day how I feel from when I filmed that video, even though in that video I filmed it August 11th. So that was 7 weeks out from my rhinoplasty procedure. It is now, October, we're coming up into Halloween. So it's been a few months since I did that video. I did feel comfortable enough at that point to film, but I still didn't really like my nose. I was kind of at the point where I was accepting my nose, cautiously optimistic. That's how I would describe it. And I was like, okay, I can't wait to see the progress further moving forward. But there were still days that I was having a hard time liking it, and some days where I'm like still doubting it completely and just hoping for the best. Now where I'm at, I completely like my nose, and I'll do like a closer screenshot. I'm sorry if you can see my pimples. Forewarning, because I just went to a dermatologist and she told me this is a tip for everyone. We should be washing our mask once a day or changing the mask that often. If not, you're gonna end up with little bumps like I have. This is from the front, and like even if you watch my last video, I'll just stop talking for the side views. Yeah, okay. So if you watch the last video, like even now looking back, I can see a significant difference in like the swelling going down. And from the side view, that was one of the things that I didn't like. It felt like it was pointing almost like slanted, like towards one side more. And I don't know, I mean, that's the thing. When you get rhinoplasty, you start just completely, it's under a microscope constantly, and you notice things that you didn't notice about your nose before. One thing I didn't like was that my nostrils were kind of asymmetric, and now like that is definitely something that I notice is going down. Like this one was the one that was asymmetric, and I'll get into that in a little bit later in the video. But anyways, so lots of progress has been made, and even though I noticed more things that could be wrong and stuff, I look back at old pictures from my nose before I got the nose job, and I'm like 100% like so happy with my decision. Even if it's not perfect now, I just feel absolutely great, and I feel like it's just such an improvement for my nose. Like if you hate your nose before you get your rhinoplasty done, it is more probable that you will like the results sooner, I feel like, because for me and for a lot of other people, it's like you disliked your nose beforehand, but there still were things that you liked about it. I told him what I was hoping for was from the side, I wanted it to be straight, but from the front, I wanted it to look almost identical, or to try to, because I liked it from the front. So when he was giving me tips about how it should be, and he was a really good surgeon, trusted his opinion. And so, like I said, now I look back at the old photos, my nose it made my face look so harsh. And like, even though I liked my face then, like I still think I was pretty, it's like, I just love the improvements that I see now. If you somewhat liked your nose before, it will take longer for you, especially depending on how your swelling is, but like you will start questioning and I feel like doubting your decision more if you aren't seeing the immediate results you want. That's why it's such a mental and emotional game, because you're like, oh my God, like I loved how my face looked before, like why did I do this? But all I'm gonna say is be patient, and I'll talk about in this video why patience paid off and where I'm at now. So I did my video the 7 weeks after my surgery, August 11th. I had a second appointment with him like mid-August that I actually had a Zoom meeting with him, and I just voiced my opinions. And the reason it was over Zoom was because, you know, it wasn't necessary for me to go see him in person yet. He just wanted to check up how it was doing. But even then, he, you know, they will tell you it's too early to tell, like, you know, even though you're freaking out and you have all these problems in your mind, but he's like, you're still really swollen. Like, things completely changed with just a little bit of less swelling. And I know for a fact because it was the difference, a drastic difference in how much I liked it just from a little bit of swelling going down. So I had seen him and I told him about the nostrils. And then the other thing was that I was worried that like I said, it was slanting or kind of asymmetric. And so at that point, his answer for me was just to, you know, continue to wait, and that I would see him in person September 30th. So if I wanted to at that time, he would give me injections to speed up the process of it swelling down. The first question that I've been asked is like, when did I first start liking it? AKA, when did the swelling start going down? Because that is when you start to like it. First day that I started to like it was actually a few weeks after I had filmed my video, which was, I have the date written down, August 27th, because I took a picture. Well, I had gotten ready, I straightened my hair, and it wasn't, you know, the first time that I had gotten ready or anything since getting my nose job. I actually talked about a time that I went out in my last video and I got ready and stuff, and I liked how I looked, but I still felt self-conscious because my nose like felt like a swollen button to me, you know? And so this time when I had gotten ready, it was August 27th, and I felt, honestly, like I looked bomb. Like I hadn't felt that confident in a long time. I was shocked because I looked different, but for once I looked different in a good way. And I was like, I felt really good. And so it was this day, I'll put a picture because I remember, you know, I just thought it looked really good. And then that was the 9th week. It literally was a Thursday, and I got my surgery done on a Thursday, June 25th. So it was the 9th week that I noticed immediately that I started liking it. And I was like, wow, like this is different than how I've been feeling. So that was the first day. And I think the main improvement at that point was actually the swelling of my eyes. Like I didn't know how much swelling of the eyes would make such a difference, but it's like when you have to keep that in mind when you get your nose done. This whole area has really been affected, so that's why the eyes get so swollen. And for me, like I have big eyes, and so it definitely just, that was the thing that I think was preventing me from really liking it. Also, the swelling of the tip, of course, is the next major thing that people notice that they don't like, and they're just waiting for it to go down. And so that weekend, I also went out, and I remember I looked so bomb, and I'm gonna put more pictures because I really liked how I looked. And the thing was, it was such a memorable weekend too, because it was just like the first, like this whole week from Thursday to that weekend when I felt like I looked really good. Like I said, it's just, I hadn't felt that confident since before my nose job. Like it was just, it messes with your confidence. It messes with like your self-esteem for a little bit. The other thing was that people even commented like on my appearance and just how good I looked and how I looked different. Not that, you know, outside validation, I talk about that in my other videos, like not that that is the important part. It's really how you feel about yourself. And of course, what I've been saying is that I felt really good about myself, but I think it was just confirmation because other people also were commenting saying how good I looked. And then I think it's also obviously the aura that you give off when you're confident, like people gravitate towards you more. But it was just funny. Like I was like, okay, like I noticed a difference, and I feel like other people are noticing the same difference. But anyway, so that was the first day that I really, really liked it. And from then on, things got so much easier because you're not constantly questioning like in the mirror every time you look at it. That's pretty much what I was doing, is like whenever I would look in a mirror, I would just like, okay, is any less swollen today? Is it any less swollen today? Because you're not comfortable with how you look yet. So it's like you miss seeing yourself. But that's the thing, like rhinoplasty does change your face. So you're waiting. So if you're not like 100% loving your face and adjusted to it yet, you're just like, oh my God, what did I do? That is the mental game that goes on. And that's why it can be emotional, because you're like, did I just fuck up my entire life? You know, that's how I thought about it anyways. But this was the first time where it's like, I saw my new face, but I loved it. It's not entirely different, but it's like, it is different. And I love it. Like my face is softer, like I said. And when I look at before pictures, it's just, I love it so much more now. The next major date is September 30th. And I went to the doctor in person, or my surgeon in person. And so what we did that day, I told him my concerns. So he injected, I'm not really sure what it was, but some solution to help the swelling go down. And the injections didn't hurt. They used like this little vibrator thing to put on your nose when you get the shot. And it's just kind of like a quick pinch, but it didn't hurt. And then It was literally like 15 seconds. And so after that, then I left and it was swollen a little bit, but not like swollen when you get your surgery done. It was swollen just like a little bit to the point where it didn't really make a difference. The next day, I immediately noticed that I started liking it even more. Like it swelled down, just, it's funny because it subtly changes, but yet those subtle changes make such a difference. Like, I don't know, that's it's hard to explain until you go through it, but I liked how it looked even the next day, like a lot more. At that time, yeah, that's when I started loving it. I started doing more of my videos at that time too. So if you guys have seen my toxic men video, how to tell if he's toxic, just from that time on, I really, really enjoyed how my face was looking. I felt comfortable to take selfies and stuff like I had done before. And of course, not in like an arrogant and vain way. It was just I was excited, you know, like you haven't been excited about how all this money that you spent. I think that's the biggest fear. It's like, I was so scared that I had just spent a whole bunch of money to fix a problem, but instead maybe it backfired and I just drastically changed my face, and you know, like the worst decision of my life. But once you start liking it, you're at a point where you're excited because it's like, okay, not only did I just spend the money and fix a problem, but I really, really like how it turned out, and I feel even better and more confident. The main improvement after the injections, other than the swelling going a little bit down, was that it helped my nostrils become more symmetrical at that point. So like right now, as you can tell, they're almost the exact same except for this side, because again, that's where the stitches are at. So that's why I can notice that they're asymmetrical, and I'm sure you guys can too. But from this side, it's a lot more like sleek, I would say. And this side is still a little bit bubbly right here. So I think, you know, again, I'm only at 4 months and 2 weeks. So I still have another, you know, up until 6 months for this to change a little bit more. By 6 months, I'll go ahead and do another update for you guys. Just, you know, I try to keep it short, but this one I was really excited. So I don't know, I feel like I'm already going over. But anyways, so that was the biggest difference. Then I'll show you this picture from last week, October 21st, is when I started noticing that the nostrils were more symmetric. Because it's not so much that you notice like when they are symmetric, but I noticed how much that they weren't symmetric like before that, because it was something that again just stood out to me when nostrils weren't even a thing that I noticed like before I ever got a nose job. Again, I can't wait to see where it's at 6 months and to see if it's like, you know, the same size or if this part is still bigger. But either way, you know, those were the main parts of the update that I wanted to give. I cannot be happier with my decision because like I said, I can see how much softer my face is. And even though it's not perfect right now, it's like, I know one, that there's still improvement to be had because I'm only at 4 months. And even if there were not to be any improvements, it's like I like my face so much. And even though I liked it before, it's like I absolutely, like, it's just that much better now. And even if it didn't change, like I would be okay with this. For any of you guys who are having doubts out there about where you're at in your journey with the rhinoplasty, like just keep having patience. I know nobody wants to hear that. And I remember it, like, it just went, you know, over my head. I was like, patience, I don't care. Like I want it to look good now. But just remain positive and remain hopeful, because dwelling on it and just constantly being negative isn't going to help it at all. I'll show my pictures now from before the nose job. Like I said, I'm just so glad that I made this decision. I absolutely am more confident because of my decision. Although I liked my face before, like I really, really like my face now and I love myself. So, you know, great. That's the whole point of getting rhinoplasty, just to help you in your confidence and self-love journey. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Peace, love, and soul vibes.